And now you get to hear me playing the kazoo. Today's lesson is to write an equation. We're going to write an equation to solve a problem. The Indiana Academic Standard is 8.3.1. This is where you're going to take those story problems and turn them into algebra equations. Example number 1, writing equation. A moving van rents for $29.95 a day plus 12 cents per mile. Mr. Reynolds' bill was $137.80, and he drove the van for 150 miles. For how many days did he have the van? Number 1, what is the goal for this problem? To figure out how many days Mr. Reynolds used a moving van. Number 2, how many miles did Mr. Reynolds drive? 150 miles. Number 3, what does the van cost without mileage? $29.95 per day. And number 4, what is the mileage charge? 12 cents per mile. Pause the video if you need more time to copy down the answers to these questions. Now we're ready to make and carry out a plan. We first have to write an equation. This first example is called a verbal model because we put things into words. If we take the number of days times $29.95 per day plus 12 cents per mile times 150 miles, that's going to equal the total bill of $137.80. We're going to let D equal the number of days Mr. Reynolds had the van. So we have D times $29.95 plus 12 cents times 150 equals $137.80. Now when we write this, we probably should rewrite the $29.95 in front of the D. So we have $29.95D plus 12 cents times 150 equals $137.80. Multiply 12 cents times 150 and you get 18. So we now have 29.95D plus 18 equals $137.80. We have to subtract 18 from both sides of the equation. So we're left with $29.95D equals $119.80. We're now ready to divide both sides by $29.95. On the left-hand side, the $29.95s cancel each other out. You're left with D. On the right-hand side, $119.80 divided by $29.95 is 4. So Mr. Reynolds had the van for 4 days. Pause the video if you need more time. Don't forget to record a question we can discuss in class. Quick check number 1. Suppose that Mr. Reynolds' bill was $168.80 and he drove the van 350 miles. How would the equation change? You would have to change the miles traveled from 150 to 350, and the total bill would change from $137.80 to $161.80. Part B. Solve the new equation to find out how many days he rented the van. We start with a new equation. 29.95D plus 12 cents times the 350 miles equals the total bill $161.80. We take the 12 cents times the 350 miles and we get 42. So we have $29.95D plus 42 equals $161.80. We subtract 42 from both sides of the equation. On the left-hand side, you're left with $29.95D, and on the right-hand side, $161.80 minus $42 is $119.80. Now we're ready to divide both sides by 29.95. On the left-hand side, the 29.95s cancel each other out, and you're left with D. On the right-hand side, you get 4. So, Mr. Reynolds rented the van for 4 days. Pause the video if you need more time to copy down this example. Don't forget to record any questions that you might have. At this time, I want you to put a smiley face on the paper if you understand it, and a frown face if you don't understand it. We're going to skip the estimation check and go right into quick check number 2. Mr. Reynolds rented the van for 1 day. His bill was $41.95. How many miles did he drive? Well, we first have to set up the equation. Let's do a verbal model just to practice. Our verbal model is the charge per day times the number of days plus the charge per mile times the number of miles equals the total bill. So let's substitute in everything that we know. The charge per day is $29.95. We only have 1 day, so we don't need to multiply the $29.95 times anything. It's 12 cents per mile. We don't know how many miles, so we're going to put M in for the number of miles driven. And the total bill was $41.95. So we have $29.95 plus 12 cents times M equals $41.95. Now we're ready to solve for M. We're going to subtract $29.95 from both sides of the equation. On the left-hand side, you're left with 0.12 M. On the right-hand side, $41.95 minus $29.95 is 12. Now we're ready to divide both sides by 0.12. On the left-hand side, 0.12 M divided by 0.12 gives us M. On the right-hand side, 12 divided by 0.12 is 100. So, Mr. Reynolds drove the van 100 miles. Pause the video if you need more time to copy down this example. Don't forget to have written either a smiley face or a frowny face depending on how you feel about this assignment or this set of notes.